problems. Well, we're here on the promenade at the Cycleway, actually, just outside the sea terminal, the home of the Highway Boards Division, and the head of is with us now to talk about what could be the shape of things to come on the promenade. That's Segways, and for people who don't know what Segways are, we best start with that.
Yeah, Segways are a sort of personal transportation device. They have two wheels about a foot in diameter. You stand on a little platform that's slung low between those wheels. Each wheel has a 2 horsepower motor powering it and a gyro that keeps it up. There's a sort of stick that comes up from that you hang on to, and as you lean forward, you go forward, and as you lean back, you go back. They're very manoeuvrable and quite fun things, really.
They are. We're looking at some pictures here now. In fact, in San Francisco, which is where I first did it, and I have to say, it's definitely one of those things, once you've done it, you think this is the way to get around a city and have a tour of a city especially and see the sights.
Yes. Well, we were approached by an entrepreneur, so really it's a question of would we or wouldn't we allow it. So I spoke to the Minister Cretney, and he was enthusiastic to run a trial. And so we're going to, subject to the order being made, which I'll advertise, and if people are concerned about, they can obviously contact me. But subject to that being made and the entrepreneur sticking with his plan, we should see a trial of Segways on the Isle of Man. Now, from an island point of view, there's a number of things. One, they broaden the tourist offering a little bit, a fun thing to do on a nice day on the promenade. But from a department point of view, there's a slightly serious angle in that obviously as petrol becomes more expensive and congestion becomes a little bit more intense, these perhaps offer another means of transport for the sort of 2-3 mile journeys. They have a longer range than that, but obviously they don't go that fast, so you wouldn't want to perhaps do a very long journey on them.
Well, let's get back to the idea, first of all, the Isle of Man's going to have them, because this is what you're doing. You're having a little check out there, aren't you, see if there's any particular problems. Yes. I mean, there will be some people. I remember the days you couldn't even cycle on the promenade. You had somebody telling you off about that, and now you wouldn't think twice about it. Is it just the shock of the new for some, do you think?
I think it is a bit of a shock of the new. There are some international safety studies on Segways which say that they are less dangerous than bicycles, because really it's almost like me walking into you, Paul. So it's a low speed impact, and I would not want to walk into you. So the Segway operator, who will be obliged to give way to pedestrians anyway, will be reluctant to crash into other people because it will hurt them as much as it hurts the person they crash into.
Now, are you going to keep them on the cycleway? Is that your plan?
We thought a lot about whether to have them on the cycleway or the footway part of the walkway, and in the end concluded that the footway was perhaps a little safer. It's not exactly as you might think. The accidents that we've had on the cycleway are usually pedestrians standing in the cycleway. Cyclists come along, swerve out of the cycleway to avoid the pedestrians and hit other pedestrians. So if we put the Segways in the cycleway, we felt that there would be more chance of cyclists who would probably be going a little faster swerving to avoid the Segways and hitting innocent bystanders. The Segways, we are capable of 12.5 miles an hour, but we think that's a little bit fast for a trial mixed with pedestrians. So we're starting by putting a speed limit of 6 miles an hour, and they can actually set that on the device, so they won't exceed 6 miles an hour. So worst scenario, very low speed impact with other pedestrians, but I imagine they'll mix fairly safely, so we shouldn't see a problem.
Well, rightly so, the entrepreneur behind this doesn't want to actually put out the dosh yet until he knows if he can go ahead. So when will you have that yes or no for him?
Well, we'll advertise the order immediately. Within a month we can sign the order, and then the entrepreneur can nail his colours to the mast, as it were. Obviously, if he doesn't come forward, then the thing will die unless someone else fancies a go. But there may be a commercial thing there for the individual to perhaps make a few quid. They're not cheap to buy though in the first place, so it is a bit of a long-term investment.
But this comes under the only in the Isle of Man. Can a Segway not be legal? I mean, some people might even bought them. They may be somewhere now, but technically they aren't allowed to go on the roads, or what?
We have to make an order to allow them because they're a vehicle, and therefore you need a driver's licence and road tax and so on. There is a legal way that we can allow them under the Road Traffic Regulation Act, so that's what we're doing. They're not allowed in the UK, but they are allowed in many other jurisdictions. Having said that, of course, you can use them on private land, and I know some parks in the UK have decided to allow them, where again they're mixed with pedestrians in a similar setting to the walkway here.
So we'll all meet up in about a month's time and we'll have a little go, shall we?
I would very much like to do that and look forward to it.